Escaping Hitler by Monty Halls, read by Leighton Pugh. To my dad, who served his country, and to Isla and Molly, who I pray never have to witness the horrors of conflict. Preface. It is not unreasonable to assume that the desire for freedom is universal, something fundamental to us all. Surely, when faced with the choice between imprisonment and liberty, simple human nature means that we would do whatever it takes to slip the bonds of captivity. But in researching this book, it became apparent that such decisions are seldom simple. Time and time again, when I met the few remaining survivors of the freedom trails of the Second World War, I recognized an indomitable spirit which meant that they often defied logic, the enemy, the elements, and even their companions to take their fate into their own hands. It is only in trekking the trails that one realizes the physical challenge involved, and for most I only did key sections of the entire routes. Frequently the escapees would arrive at the start of the main freedom trail, for example over the mountains of the Pyrenees, having already been on the run for several hundred kilometers over the course of many months. They were so often pitifully ill-equipped, malnourished, and under immense mental strain, and yet they still had what it took to take on formidable natural features that required the skills and endurance of mountaineers. Such independence of thought and action has also been readily apparent in the people who helped them on their way. The vast majority of escapers fully acknowledge that without local assistance and support, they would not have had the slightest chance of regaining their freedom. The courage of the local people who did offer this assistance is beyond debate, as they invariably faced brutal reprisals if captured. Despite the huge risk to themselves, they still gave everything they had in order to help complete strangers. To a large degree, they are the heroes of these stories. They are old men and women now, those who remain to tell their own tales of escape or defiance of their enemy in an occupied land. But despite the passage of time, this crystal spirit still shines brightly. Although invariably modest and unassuming, anyone would have done it, is a recurring theme in most interviews. They do speak proudly of their deeds, wearing them as a badge of honor and a defining moment in their lives. Under the most pressing of circumstances, they weren't found wanting. How many of us, faced with similar, near impossible choices, would have shown the same strength of character? Although such individual qualities are a continual theme in this book, the four main escape stories present contrasting circumstances and environments. The SAS raid in the Rossano Valley in Italy tells the tale of an extraordinary group of men exfiltrating through a benighted and stricken landscape. The SAS never retreat, they exfiltrate. I was reminded of this with some vigor by a modern special forces contact. By stark contrast, the exploits of a young man from Hackney, one who had never left England before the war began, in not only living covertly in the midst of the German occupiers, but then making a heroic bid for freedom over the immense white wastes of Monte Amaro, represent a monument to an indefatigable will to survive, as well as great personal initiative and drive. The crow's flight in Slovenia is truly one of the most remarkable escape stories of the entire war, the largest successful escape by Allied POWs during the conflict, and a feat of leadership by one man that rings through the ages. And finally, there are the Pyrenees escape lines, immense in their scale, both logistically and geographically. One in particular, the Pat O'Leary line, was run by a man who was truly a colossus in the annals of escape and evasion. These are routes that the Nazis never truly conquered, operating with a local support network that they never fully subdued. As a former Royal Marine myself, it was absolutely fascinating to investigate the physical, moral, and mental challenges that faced the individuals who moved along these trails. Like so many of my generation, I have never been pursued, harried, and hunted by a relentless and well-equipped enemy. I have never lived in fear of my life through a simple accident of time and place, of ethnicity and of culture. To walk these trails through some of the most dramatic landscapes in Europe is all about perspective. We are indeed blessed with so much of what we have today, owed to the sacrifices of those who have gone before. I felt dwarfed by the immensity of the scenery around me, and awestruck at the stoicism and bravery of the people who played out their roles against the backdrop of the Second World War.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?